Hey, scientists may have just found a new planet that looks a lot like Earth, with a big icy catch. This world is about 150 light-years away, rocky, and circles a sun-like star on a schedule pretty close to ours. At first sight, it sounds promising, right? Well, slow down. There's a catch here. It might be insanely cold as Mars in the deep freeze. You see, HD 137010b, that's a mouthful, doesn't seem to be a gas ball, so we would probably be able to stand on its surface. It's a little bigger than Earth and goes around a star that's pretty similar to our Sun. This star is about 146 light-years away from our planet, which, in space terms, is close enough for scientists to study it instead of just, squinting at it. But what made people excited is the fact that this planet takes about 1 Earth year to go around its star. Now that's a big deal, because most exoplanets dash around their stars in days or weeks. Even better, this newly discovered one might sit right on the outer edge of the habitable zone, also called the Goldilocks zone. This region is not too hot and not too cold, which means that liquid water might exist on the planet if it has the right atmosphere. A big if, but still cool. Another thing that makes this planet extra special is how we see it. From Earth, it actually passes in front of its star. Imagine a tiny bug crawling across a flashlight beam. You got it. That makes it way easier for scientists to study things like its size, orbit, and maybe even what its atmosphere is made of. And if all of this checks out, it could be one of the best Earth-like planet candidates we've ever found. And now, the bad news. This planet does not get much sunlight. HD 137010b gets less than 1/3 of the heat and light Earth gets from the Sun. Even though its star is similar to our Sun, it's basically the Sun's quieter, dimmer cousin. Same type, lower wattage. What does that mean for the planet? It could be insanely cold. Scientists think the surface temperature might max out at around minus 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's not a grab-a-jacket cold, that's your face freezes right away cold. For comparison, Mars has an average temperature of around minus 85 degrees Fahrenheit. So this planet could actually be colder than Mars, a frozen desert, not to be confused with a frozen dessert, that looks like it gave up on life a long time ago. Another plot twist: this planet isn't officially a planet yet. At the moment, it's still labeled a candidate. Scientists usually confirm planets by watching them pass in front of their star over and over again. Every time that happens, the star dims just a little bit. But with this new space body, we've only seen one transit, a single 10-hour-long mini-eclipse, spotted during Kepler's second mission, called K2. Even with that one pass, astronomers could still learn a lot. They measured how long the planet's shadow took to cross the star, about 10 hours. For comparison, Earth takes about 13 hours to cross the Sun. Then, they plugged that into orbital models and estimated that the planet probably takes about a year to go around its star. That's impressive, but it's still not enough. Astronomers need to see that dip in starlight repeat on schedule to be sure it's really a planet and not some weird stellar wanderer. Unfortunately, this planet orbits far out, and those transits are rare. You don't get one every few days or weeks. You might have to wait a year or more for the next one. That's one of the big reasons Earth-like planets are so hard to find in the first place. So now, scientists are just hoping that other space telescopes can help out. NASA's TESS might catch another transit, or Europe's Cheops telescope could help pin it down. If neither of those catches it, we might have to wait for the next generation of space telescopes to get better data. Because even though this planet sounds like an ice cube in space, it's not totally doomed. If it has a thick atmosphere, especially if it's rich in carbon dioxide, it could trap heat really well, like a planet-sized winter coat. In that case, the planet might actually have a mild climate or even liquid water on its surface. Well, based on computer models, scientists say there's about a 40% chance this distant world sits in the safe, conservative, habitable zone. A chance that is located in a more relaxed, optimistic habitable zone reaches 51%. But there's also a 50-50 chance that the planet is actually outside the habitable zone altogether. In other words, this planet is basically a cosmic coin toss. It could be a frozen wasteland, worse than Mars, a chilly, barely survivable world, or a watery planet hiding under a thick atmosphere. HD 137010b isn't the only place that has the potential to host human civilization in the future. In recent years, astronomers have been spotting new super-Earth planets orbiting remote stars. Now, checking our space vocabulary, super-Earth means a planet beyond the solar system with a mass higher than that of Earth, but below those of the ice giants of the solar system, Uranus and Neptune. One of those planets is Gliese 667cc. It's just 22 light-years from Earth. But even though it seems pretty close, it's still around 129 trillion miles away from us. That's around 1.4 million times the average distance from the Earth to the Sun. So very, very far. The planet itself is around 3.8 times as massive as Earth and completes one orbit around its host star within 28 days. In other words, a year on that Earth-like planet is 13 times shorter than a year on our planet. Luckily, the star is a cool red dwarf, so the exoplanet most likely lies in its habitable zone. But there's still a chance that this world might be regularly baked by the flares from its parent star. Then there's Kepler 22b. This world is way farther away than the previous world, more like 600 light-years away from our planet. It's larger than Earth and is about 2.5 times our planet's size. Sadly, we still don't know whether this planet is rocky, liquid, or gaseous. The orbit of Kepler 22b is pretty similar to Earth's. It takes the planet 290 days to orbit its G-class star, which is kinda similar to our Sun. But this star is smaller and colder than ours. Now, don't confuse this world with Kepler 69c. It lies a whopping 2,700 light-years away from us and is almost 70% larger than Earth. Researchers know nothing about its composition, but they found out that the planet needs 242 days to complete one orbit. This makes its position in its system similar to that of Venus in our solar system. At the same time, this world might be more hospitable than Venus since its host star is a bit less luminous, 80% of our Sun. As for our Venus, it's an extremely hostile place. You don't want to go there. A runaway greenhouse effect caused by an atmosphere that's about 96% carbon dioxide traps the heat. That pushes surface temperatures up to around 878 degrees Fahrenheit, which is hot enough to melt lead. On top of that, the air pressure is about 90 times stronger than that of Earth, and the whole planet is covered in thick clouds of corrosive sulfuric acid. Oh boy. Compared to our neighbor, TOI 733b seems like a pretty friendly world. This planet was found in 2023. It's floating 245 light-years away from Earth. The coolest thing about this planet is that it might have a massive ocean. According to scientists, this planet is likely to be completely covered with water. Does it mean there could be life on this super-Earth? Well, time will show. And who knows? Maybe soon we'll find even more planets that could become a new home for people looking to explore the universe. As for HD 137010b, the fact that it checks so many Earth-style boxes makes it a really interesting find. It's not a backup Earth yet, but it makes scientists stop and say, okay, this one's worth a closer look, or something similar.
Among all the planets of the solar system, our Earth is unique, since it's the only one that has developed life. But what if we got a competitor? What if a second Earth appeared out of nowhere? Then there would be two different scenarios. The first is the destruction of both planets. The second has an unexpected but pretty logical ending. But let's start with the catastrophic scenario. The second Earth with the same conditions could only exist if it received absolutely the same amount of sunlight as our planet. The orbit that our Earth follows is perfect for getting the necessary amount of solar heat. If we were a little further away, the entire surface of our planet would resemble Antarctica. And if Earth were a little closer to the Sun, we'd all live in a huge desert, inhabited by very few living beings. So, for the second Earth to be identical to ours, it would need to follow the orbit of our planet. Two massive objects can exist close to each other. The union of Earth and the Moon is a great example. But if the second object was as heavy and huge as our planet, there wouldn't be enough space for both of them. the gravity of two Earths would be a huge problem. The two worlds would collide because they would be pulled toward each other. This process would last for hundreds of millions of years, and in the end, the two planets would transform into one giant world, and their remnants would be flying around the newly formed planet, resembling the rings around Saturn. Or one of the planets would push the other out of its orbit. In this case, one of the Earths would hurtle toward the Sun and burn like a match in its atmosphere. It's also important to remember that Earth is moving at a speed of 67,000 miles per hour at all times. This is more than 80 times faster than the speed of sound. And now, imagine two huge planets that are flying toward each other at such a speed. Even a microscopic organism living in the mouth of a volcano wouldn't stand a chance to survive the collision of two Earths. Even the moon would be torn to pieces by the blast wave. But let's imagine that Earth's twin is following another orbit, somewhere between Mars and Earth. Even in this situation, people's lives would change forever. By the way, the theory that Earth might have a twin appeared long ago. Scientists of the past believed that the second planet could be hiding on the opposite side of the Sun. Thanks to modern technologies in astronomy, we know this theory isn't true. Otherwise, our telescopes and other equipment would have already caught some signals from this planet. Scientists study space objects thousands of light years away from us, so they would definitely notice another world in the neighborhood. But anyway, let's imagine that the second Earth does exist, and we've discovered it recently. The entire field of astronomy and astrophysics will immediately receive hundreds of billions of dollars in funding. The study of Earth's twin will become a priority goal for people. Experts will put forward hundreds of hypotheses about what the second Earth looks like and what's happening there. The planet is almost at the same distance from the Sun as we are. This means the weather must be the same there. Soon, scientists find out that Earth's doppelganger has liquid water and continents, but they aren't like ours. Their shapes and location are different. Most likely, life exists there too. But what is its origin? There's a hypothesis that life on our planet appeared thanks to amino acids brought here by a meteorite. It's highly improbable that the same thing happened to another world. Life most likely emerged there in a completely different way. Perhaps the fish didn't get out of the water on that planet, and the first intelligent creatures appeared in the ocean. These could be amphibians with scales and fins, or octopus-like monsters with huge tentacles. Fish on the second Earth could have come out of the water and grown limbs. But what if they didn't like walking on the ground? Then, this world might be inhabited by intelligent bird people. Or, life could have originated deep in the soil. Then evolution would create humanoid moles or highly developed worms. To find out for sure, scientists send a rover there. A similar mission to Mars was a success, so there shouldn't be any problems with this one. People on Earth are waiting. What will the rover find on the other side? It will take several years for the ship to get there. Strangely, 2 days after the launch, it returns. But wait, this is not our space probe. All this time, the inhabitants of the second Earth have been watching our planet too. At one point, they also sent a probe. It's made of the same materials as ours. It has a camera and a recording device. But people are worried because the rover looks similar to a mechanical spider. Can it be that giant tarantulas live in that world? Scientists understand that we need to communicate. We send our guests a radio signal with some information about our civilization. They catch this message and send their own. It contains strange symbols that resemble scratches. Linguists all over the world are trying to decipher it. Meanwhile, astronomers send the guests a recording of human speech. A few days later, our satellites catch a message from our space neighbors with their voices. Scientists are about to play the recording. The whole world is listening with bated breath, and it's a growl. A terrible and absolutely incomprehensible growl. It has pauses and an unusual rhythm, but it's nothing resembling human speech. The whole planet is panicking. All countries are preparing for an invasion. The most important thing now is to build shields to protect the planet. No one can decrypt the message. It's possible that our neighbors can't understand us either. People make a last attempt to establish some contact. we send a video to explain to our guests with the help of gestures and signs that we only want peace and collaboration. The answer doesn't take long to wait. Our satellite receives their video file. Scientists play back the recording, and it's shocking! We see dinosaurs in robotic suits! Life on the second Earth has been developing in the same way as on our planet. But the infamous colossal meteorite didn't fall there. Over millions of years of evolution, dinosaurs have become sentient. In the video, they're growling and pointing with their claws at the picture of our Earth. Then they start growling even more loudly and... is it laughter? The recording ends. People consider this the announcement of the invasion. Several years have passed. During this time, scientists have exchanged messages with dinosaurs several times, and it seems we're beginning to understand them. It turns out that the reptiles also want peace. They say that their planet was once inhabited by humanoids similar to humans, but a massive flood wiped them away. Dinosaurs managed to survive and evolve into intelligent beings. It will take many years before people set foot on their planet, and when this happens, humanity will feel relieved, realizing that we're not alone. But what if there was no intelligent life on the second Earth? People would also be happy. We would know that we'd always have another home. Perhaps we'd start exploring Earth's twin right away, or begin mining its resources to replenish ours. In any case, our lives wouldn't change immediately, because that land would be too far away from our planet. Dozens of generations would pass before people begin settling on the second Earth. Our homeland planet would be losing more and more resources, so everyone would want to move to a new world. In the beginning, only the richest would be able to do it, but with time, space travel would become cheaper. People would probably invest a lot of money to build a paradise on the second Earth. If this happened, we'd be visiting this world during our vacation to breathe fresh air and enjoy nature. In any case, the human population would grow. This means that sooner or later, the second Earth would become as loaded as the first one, and then people would start searching for a new home among the stars. By the way, if any life exists on a planet similar to ours, it's likely to look like octopuses. There's even a theory that octopuses came to Earth from some other world. Any animal has several evolutionary stages of development. For example, elephants and mammoths descended from one common ancestor 5 to 6 million years ago. Looking even further, almost all mammals evolved from one ancestor they shared with reptiles. Each species has been changing over millions of years. But not octopuses. They suddenly appeared on a family tree. From the point of view of evolution, squids would have to evolve into octopuses millions of years from now. But look, they're already here. Besides, octopuses are incredibly smart. Their genetic code is much more diverse than the human one. They may be visitors from another planet that is similar to ours. But of course, this is only a hypothesis.
For what seems like ages, scientists have been hunting for another Earth, perhaps to find cosmic neighbors, or maybe just to have a backup planet for potential relocation in case we can't turn this one around. Now, thanks to the James Webb Space Telescope, they might finally have a strong candidate. It's called TRAPPIST-1e and is located 40 light-years away. 1e orbits a small star called TRAPPIST-1. It's an intriguing system that has 7 Earth-sized planets, all of which are nicknamed with letters from B to H. While 40 light-years won't be reachable anytime soon, that's still close. Well, in space terms at least. Our galaxy, the Milky Way, is about 100,000 light-years across. So compared to that, 40 is like a walk down the driveway. Or at least will be if our spaceships achieve a speed close to the speed of light, just like in the movies. Remember, a light-year isn't a measure for time. It's how far light can travel in 1 year, which is close to 6 trillion miles, which is a lot of zeros. So multiply that by 40 and you get the location of TRAPPIST-1. So bring a big lunch. T1 is a red dwarf, a type of star that's basically like a dimmer and smaller version of our Sun. It's only a bit bigger than Jupiter. Among this family, 1e sits in the star's sweet spot, the so-called Goldilocks zone. Not too hot, not too cold, at a distance where liquid water could exist on a planet's surface if it has the right atmosphere. perfectly habitable, at least for creatures resembling Earth's residents. However, it's not just located at just the right distance, which is a huge plus. 1E also happens to be a rocky planet. Its size and mass are close to Earth's, which suggests it has a similar density and structure, as well as similar gravity, meaning no cool jumps like on the Moon. Now, Webb has picked up hints that there could be an atmosphere. The planet might be wrapped in gases like nitrogen, carbon dioxide, and methane. We have such a mix over here, too. Earth's air is built from the same elements. Atmosphere matters. Mars lost most of it, Venus has too much, and Earth got it just right. That's why we have cozy weather and oceans. If 1E really does have something similar, it could mean clouds, rain, and maybe even seas. The stuff that would make Earthlings feel at home. However, here is where it gets interesting. We mentioned that 1E is a red dwarf star, and that makes it dim, hundreds of times dimmer than the Sun. If you were standing on 1E, the star would look way bigger in the sky than our Sun does here. But it would glow red and dull. It would be like living under a never-ending sunset. You might think, sweet, it would be romantic, until it gets old. I mean cold. It has to be freezing, right? After all, how can such a faint star provide enough heat for life the way our Sun does? Well, funny enough, you won't need super winter-resistant jackets. The trick is distance. TRAPPIST-1e orbits extremely close to its star, just about 3% of Earth's distance from the Sun. If the planet were sitting where Earth is, it would be a ball of ice. But being so close also means that its year is only around 146 hours. That means it takes 6 Earth days for 1E to resolve around T1. Celebrating birthdays every 6 days sounds like a great deal, huh? That's a lot of cake. But wait, does that mean that each season would last about 36 hours? No, because the planet is almost certainly tidally locked. That means one side bakes in endless daylight and the other side is stuck in eternal night. Not exactly Earth 2.0. Without an atmosphere, you'd get a scorched wasteland on one side and an ice cube on the other. But with an atmosphere, the air can spread the heat around, smoothing things out. In theory, the comfiest spot might actually be the twilight strip between day and night, the so-called Terminator line. Again, a permanent sunrise or sunset. Instagrammers would love it. Red dwarfs are actually the most common stars in our galaxy, making up about 70% of all the stars we know about. And they live practically forever. Our Sun is projected to last 10 billion years. Red dwarfs could go on for trillions. That's more than enough time for life to develop. However, the short straw is that red dwarfs are kind of feisty. They erupt with powerful flares that blast out intense radiation. So, for planets orbiting so close, those flares can strip away atmospheres and sterilize the surface. It's like having a dream house with a beautiful view near a dynamite factory. Oops. That's what makes TRAPPIST-1e so exciting. If it does have an atmosphere, it would mean it somehow resisted billions of years of flare activity. And it might not be the only one. There could be plenty of exoplanets like this out there. Now, you may be wondering how scientists could possibly know what's going on with a small planet that's so far away. Well, they study light using a technique called transit spectroscopy. When TRAPPIST-1e passes in front of its star, the light filters through its edges, revealing clues about its air. Repeat enough times, and we start to see what it's really like. That's one of the most important features of the James Webb Telescope. It doesn't just snap pretty pictures. It dissects that light into thousands of slices, each revealing a different clue. It's also great when you remember that E1 is just one of 7 planets that orbit so close. So scientists have a lot to study in that part of the universe. Each transit gives them a little more data, and after enough passes, they can start to rule things out. No thick hydrogen blanket? Check. No Venus-style carbon dioxide swamp? Looking that way. What's left is a planet that might, just might, have something closer to Earth's atmosphere. In other words, nobody's sending probes to TRAPPIST-1e anytime soon. But with telescopes like Webb, we can already peek at its air from across the galaxy. If you follow space-related news, you are already aware that 1E isn't the first so-called Earth-like planet that reached headlines. Astronomers have been teasing us with candidates for years, and each one comes with a but. As in, however, not your butt. For example, Kepler 186f. Back in 2014, it was the first Earth-sized planet spotted in the habitable zone of its star. People were really excited. NASA even made a sci-fi-style travel poster. The catch? Oh well, just one minor thing. The fact that it's about 500 light-years away. Even if we build a spaceship that could cruise at a tenth of light speed, which we can't, it would still be a 5,000-year-long trip. Then there's Proxima Centauri b. This one is close, just 4.2 light-years away, orbiting the nearest star to our Sun. On paper, it's a dream. However, its star is even moodier than T1. Proxima exhales massive radiation flares regularly, which makes everything unpredictable and unstable. And then we have K2-18b. The James Webb Telescope actually spotted methane and carbon dioxide in its atmosphere, gases which might hint at biological activity. Sounds great, except the planet is more like a mini Neptune, probably wrapped in thick gas layers and unlikely to have a solid surface to stand on. The bottom line? When compared to all these, TRAPPIST-1e looks like the most promising one. Close enough to study, rocky enough to stand on, and sitting in a sweet spot where liquid water could exist if conditions line up. Of course, we still need more data. 1e could turn out to be a barren rock. But the bigger story is that we're getting better at this. A few decades ago, we didn't know if other solar systems even existed. Now, we've found over 6,000 exoplanets, with more getting added almost every week. Odds are, plenty of them will be rocky, Earth-sized, and orbiting in the Goldilocks zone. Maybe we can't go there, but they could mean the discovery of extraterrestrial life. That's the exciting part. Every time Webb or the next generation of telescopes take a look, we inch closer to answering the big question: are we alone, or is the universe full of neighbors? Hey, get your dog off my lawn.
You're on a spaceship flying through outer space at a speed of 180,000 miles per second. This is almost the speed of light. Make yourself comfortable, because the voyage is going to be long. It will last a little more than 90 years. It's better to use a cryo capsule to not get bored. In short, you need to fly for almost a century at the speed of light to get to a mysterious exoplanet that scientists have recently discovered. They have found many planets in the last few years, but this one can help in the search for extraterrestrial life. The planet looks like a dark blue ball and has a complex technical name consisting of letters and numbers. It's about the size of Neptune and orbiting around a little star of class M, or in simple words, around a red dwarf. The planet is 8 times closer to its star than Earth is to the Sun. But this doesn't mean that fiery layers of magma cover the surface of this world. The temperature on this exoplanet is pretty low, and similar to Earth's. That's because the red dwarf is not as hot as our Sun. But the most exciting thing is that the atmosphere of this space object consists of water vapor, or helium hydrogen. Scientists don't know for sure, so they actively observe it. But if there is water in its atmosphere, then life can exist. It's unlikely we will discover some big creatures, but even microscopic bacteria would be a big sensation. Another reason why scientists keep their eyes on this planet is its origin. If they find out what the planet's atmosphere is made of, they'll understand how such objects can form around red dwarfs. This will be another little brick of understanding of how the universe works. Even if they discover life on this strange planet, it will be impossible to transport it from there for us to study. Fortunately, there's another massive object near Earth where microbes can live, and it's located inside our solar system. In 2020, scientists detected a strange gaseous substance in Venus's atmosphere. These were chemical residues of phosphine. This is a significant finding because phosphine exists on Earth near some microbes. They've recently discovered phosphine in penguins' bodies. Many people started to put out theories that these animals came to us from Venus. But, of course, this is not true. You can also find this substance among swamps and mud. So it was a big surprise when they found residual phosphine parts on another planet. It's weird, since life on Venus's surface most likely cannot exist. The temperature and pressure on the planet are just too high. But high up in the sky of Venus, the conditions are not so terrible. Perhaps some microbes live there. But scientists also know that volcanoes often erupt there. A chemical trace of phosphine may appear as a result of these eruptions. If this is the real reason for the appearance of phosphine, they probably won't find any life. Now they're spending a lot of money on the study of this planet. But let's go back to deep space. Over the past 20 years, scientists have been finding exoplanets far and not too far from us. Some of them orbit around dwarfs and big stars, but some planets exist entirely alone. They don't belong to the orbit of any star. They are abandoned in cold outer space. Another exciting thing is that scientists haven't found a planetary system similar to our solar one. All distant exoplanets are located at different distances from their stars. Their sizes and masses are not like those that our planets have. We call them exoplanets since they're beyond our solar system. Some other fascinating space objects are super-Earths. If some planet weighs from 2 to 10 Earth masses, is 2 times bigger, and gets energy from a star, it's called a super-Earth. No more similarities with our home. Super-Earth can consist of gas, rocks, water, ice, fire, acid, glass, or diamonds. Scientists haven't yet found a super-Earth with ideal conditions for humans. Not because all planets are bad for life, but because our body has evolved and adapted to Earth only. We don't know much about super-Earths. They contain a massive amount of energy because of their enormous masses, and this energy is released. Therefore, frequent volcanic eruptions and earthquakes occur on many of these planets. Thunderstorms happen there almost every day. And by the way, one day there lasts several times longer than our 24-hour one. Let's imagine you're on the spaceship again, traveling to some super-Earth. So here it is, massive, orange, majestic. You put on a spacesuit, get into a space capsule, and you change your mind. The whole planet resembles a fiery, boiling ball. If it has any life, it must be some invulnerable creatures. You're not like that, so you fly away to look for another super-Earth. A couple light years away, that giant ball seems to be a friendly place. Wait, this world is located far from its star. The temperature there is so low that even molecules freeze. Antarctica is like a hot desert compared with this super-Earth. You continue your voyage and finally find a perfect spot. It's 3 times heavier and twice bigger in size than Earth. It consists of rocks, gases, and possibly water. You descend to the planet on the transport capsule, open the door, and take one step. Your legs are too heavy. Your whole body has gained weight. You feel as if you were carrying a huge box of bricks on your back. You can't even walk a few feet. And the reason for this is gravity. The greater the weight the super-Earth is, the greater its gravitational force becomes. You're pressed to the ground, and your muscles are too weak for this. Also, increased gravity provokes active fluctuations of tectonic plates. Earthquakes and landslides happen on this planet pretty often. The rocky surface here is constantly changing. To live on such a planet, you would need to develop new technology to build houses. You get back into the capsule and fly away, but not too far. The planet's gravity doesn't allow your ship to rise high into the sky. It's like ropes pulling you down. You use all the remaining fuel to overcome the gravity and go beyond the atmosphere. Another problem with such worlds is meteorites. Gravity attracts not only your ship, but also colossal space objects flying by. A giant asteroid can get off its route because of the attraction of the super-Earth. It can hit the planet in the form of a meteor shower. But the falling speed is also faster, so the destruction will be more massive. But the worst thing that can happen to the super-Earth is the stoppage of the planet's core, caused by high pressure. Hundreds of billions of tons of solid rock can squeeze the heart of this world, and the core should always be in motion to perform its primary function, keeping the magnetic field working. Solar storms and cosmic radiation can create severe problems for all life on the surface. On Earth, these storms disrupt the operation of electronics and affect human health. This happens even if small holes appear in the magnetic field. And what would happen if all the protection disappears? The energy of the closer star and the radiation from distant space would quickly destroy the super-Earth and make it impossible for life to develop. All these events can happen to a super-Earth with ideal conditions for living. And such a planet is a rarity. Most super-Earths have terrible surfaces and atmospheres. There's a planet where the air is so hot that it can evaporate metals. The fiery wind simply splits any solid substance into molecules. Such a super-Earth is more like a star, not an ordinary planet. Also, there's another super-Earth, wholly covered with water. You won't find a single piece of land there. The ocean floods any island in a second. And underwater, there are volcanoes. They erupt almost every hour, releasing billions of tons of magma. Because of the heavy weight, the planet is slightly tilted. When it rotates around its axis, the water flows from one side to another. This creates huge destructive tsunamis bigger than the size of Everest. And how about a super-Earth where it's raining diamonds or sulfuric acid? The surface of another distant world is blown by winds consisting of glass. There's a lot of fire and sand. When the hot air burns the sand particles, they turn into glass. Among all such planets, ours seems to be a paradise. But perhaps for some strange organisms living at the distant end of the galaxy, Earth may seem to be a terrible world.
Ah, Earth. The third rock from the Sun. The blue planet. You get it. Its atmosphere is made up of around 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and 1% argon, water vapor, and carbon dioxide. A nice balance for any living creatures to breathe. The weather here is also perfect for life to exist, unlike places like Saturn, Mercury, or any other celestial object in our solar system. We have the troposphere to thank for that. It's the densest part of the atmosphere on our planet and is 5 to 9 miles wide. It's the layer of the atmosphere that always affects our weather and secures the right conditions for life to exist and to have bodies of water. Earth is just sitting in its orbital path, minding its own business, revolving around the Sun until, BAM! Venus and Mars swoop in and spoil the fun. No one wants to leave poor Earth alone. These two relatively large celestial objects moving toward Earth will have dire consequences for our planet, starting with changes in its orbiting trajectory path. The planet's orbits in the solar system have to maintain the right balance so that nothing goes haywire. Of course, if any large object approaches Earth, it would throw our orbiting path off course. The planets will revolve around each other, which will cause plenty of natural disasters on our lands. This will also affect our rotation timing, potentially slowing it down. Days will not flow but drag by. Animals that rely on daytime will need to readjust their biological clocks. Nocturnal animals will also need to figure out how to cope with the long nights. Humans have adjusted pretty well to the 24 hours a day timing. Time itself is just a human construct to measure things. We'll have a tough time sleeping and adjusting to the stretched day. Marine animals rely on the natural current flow to migrate around the oceans. With Mars and Venus crashing the party, it looks like they will also need to find new paths. Birds migrating to other lands throughout the year will also be confused and not know what to do. In general, the Earth's temperature will rise, and massive heat waves and permanent climate changes will occur. This brings us to our next issue, the heat. The radical temperature rise will turn everything into a barren desert. It'll be summer all year long, especially if Venus is in the picture. Most of the planet will dry up and won't be suitable for growing crops. Venus is hot, really hot. Even though it's not the closest planet to the Sun, it's still the hottest. The temperatures on Venus are close to 900 degrees Fahrenheit, which will melt you like an ice cube. The lands on Venus are generally flat, probably due to the temperatures. It's mainly hot because its atmosphere is thick and traps the hazardous gases inside. If Venus inches its way towards us, it'll invite those gases to our atmosphere and compromise it. Mars, or the red planet as we know it, is very cold. That might stay the same if it starts rotating around us. It's also home to the largest dormant volcano in our solar system, which makes Mount Everest look like a tiny bush compared to a tree. With so much instability, it might just wake up one day and spew out molten lava. Mars has a very thin atmosphere, which makes the planet chilly. Its gravity is quite similar to ours. It's actually very cold and has ice caps in the poles covered with carbon dioxide. The same's true for Mercury. You can only last there as long as you can hold your breath and be in the sweet spot between the sunrise and sunset. The three planets orbiting each other will eventually collide. It's just a matter of time. And the Moon, just hanging out like a fly on the wall, will be so insignificant that something will eventually throw it off course and another planet will capture it to its orbit. Or, in the most dire case, it will collide with one of the two intruding planets. Earth will experience extreme tidal waves like nothing before. The two new planets revolving around Earth will cause a major imbalance, making our gravity shift out of control. Each tidal wave will be bigger than the previous one and will cover the dry land. Plenty of little scattered islands in the oceans will be completely submerged. Coastal cities and towns will also be home to fish. Flat countries in general will need boats to get around. Dams and dikes won't be enough to stop the water from coming in. Everyone needs to move towards higher ground to escape the floods. With the climate getting hotter, the polar caps will melt like ice cream on a sweltering summer day and add to the water level rising. Within a few months, the whole Arctic will be nothing but liquid. But wait, there's more! The crust will wear out due to the instability of the Earth's surface and fluctuating gravity. The Earth's crust is mainly made up of oxygen, which means we're basically walking on air. We might experience more earthquakes than before, and dormant volcanoes will wake up from their deep slumber. The skies will be covered in ash, making flights impossible. No one can travel by sea or by air. Importing and exporting will become history. The overall climate will get hotter, just like in Venus. The three planets orbiting each other and their huge mass might even unintentionally welcome other planets and celestial bodies to join the party. So, what if Jupiter decided to turn up? Now, Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system. To give you an idea, the Earth would be just the size of a grape if Jupiter were the size of a basketball. It also has the largest storm we can perceive. That's known as the red spot, a place twice the size of Earth that has hurricane-like storms that have been going on for hundreds of years. Now, by the time you're done watching this video, you can expect the storm to still be going at it. Since the planet is huge, gravity must be quite strong here. It also has many moons, some of them of our little Earth. There will be no room for any proper space among the planets. Jupiter's moons will be thrown off course and latch onto other planets around. Some of the moons might collide with each other, causing massive debris to be displaced all over the place. The gravity of the planetary party will attract comets to enter the atmosphere, potentially crashing down on us. Oxygen levels will deplete, so the Earth's crust crumbling will continue. It'll rip open the ozone layer, causing heavy strokes of ultraviolet waves to enter our atmosphere. We won't be able to step outside for too long without some protective gear and oxygen tanks. Human civilization will change drastically. We'll all live in sheltered containers that will provide clean air and safe and filtered sun rays. The shelters will be sturdy enough to withstand frequent earthquakes. We will grow only enough crops to sustain ourselves until we leave the Earth. Since it'll only be a matter of time before the planets collide, the next step would be to create large rocket ships to fly us out of the Earth. With Mars, Venus, and Jupiter revolving close to us, it won't be easy to do so. All the space debris will be blocking us from exiting the space zone area. The only safe place outside this region will be many millions of miles away, where only single planets exist. They may or may not have the conditions to host life, but humans will have the technology to land just about anywhere with similar gravity and construct the right shelters. Eventually, Mars, Venus, Earth, and Jupiter will collide with each other and break like eggs, like a big space omelet. Don't forget the moon's crashing and breaking in the mix, but we'll already be far, far away by then, hopefully. So Venus and Earth are so different that a foolish question like, what's longer, a day or a year, that makes absolutely no sense on Earth, totally makes sense on Venus. A day on Venus is indeed longer than a year. If we put it into Earth's perspective, a day on Venus would equal 243 Earth days, while a year would only last 225 days. So it's like your birthday is every day. Venus is often nicknamed Earth's evil twin. Their differences are so stark, you'd think they're from different galaxies altogether. Just to give you an idea of how far apart they are, if the day-to-year ratio wasn't enough, the Earth rises in the west on Venus but sets in the east. These days, one of the very few similarities between these two is their size. But try to imagine a time when Venus and Earth were like peas in a pod, besties since the beginning of the solar system. Venus used to be the life of the party. NASA scientists think Venus might have even hosted a liquid water ocean and surface temperatures that could have welcomed life for up to 2 billion years. But modern-day Venus is a different story. We're talking extreme temperatures and a thick carbon dioxide atmosphere. So, what led to this cosmic makeover? Size, location, and attitude. I mean that the distance from the Sun and internal heat played a huge role in shaping Venus and Earth's destinies. By the way, there used to be 3 siblings that could have hosted life: Venus, Earth, and Mars. Now imagine 3 cupcakes in an oven. Once they were fully baked, they were taken out of the oven. One of them was put in front of an open window in the middle of winter. Another was carefully placed on a table and covered with a nice clean kitchen towel. And the last one was accidentally forgotten and left in the oven. Oops. Mars, Earth, and Venus are like those cupcakes. Mars got too cold and not welcoming. Earth is still nice and warm and well protected from all the unpleasant things, just like the towel protects that lucky cupcake. And Venus got scorching hot and impossible to consume. In terms of development, Earth took the slow and steady route, maintaining its oceans, stable atmosphere, and biodiversity. Venus, on the other hand, cranked up the temperature, evaporated its oceans, and went all in with greenhouse gases. As a result, we have a planet where you'll melt faster than a snowman in July. Mars, on the contrary, will turn you into an ice popsicle within seconds. But chances are, it might have been pretty hospitable at some point. Some scientists believe that Mars used to be covered with flowing rivers and lakes and had no water shortages. Even today, Mars still has an ocean called Oceanus Borealis, or rather, the remains of what once used to be an ocean. It lost nearly all its water over time. Now, the sources of water on Mars include polar ice caps and minerals and rocks. According to estimates, only 1% of all that water evaporated, while 99% is still locked in the red planet. Ice polar caps are pretty simple to understand, as we have the same thing on Earth. But rocks containing water? Simple. There are at least 4 types of hydrous minerals on Mars. There are hydrous clays made of silicon oxygen, and the cool thing about them is that they can even contain magnesium and iron, which are sulfur-based hydrous sulfates. Now, don't you? I know you thought of the smell of rotten eggs. But it's typical of hydrogen sulfur and not just sulfur. These minerals have water incorporated right into their chemical formulas. There's also hydrous silica, which has water locked in its formula too. Scientists have experimented with growing plants using Martian-like conditions and found success with alfalfa. Harvesting alfalfa also helped improve the growth of other crops like turnips and lettuce. While water may be available on the red planet, the air on Mars is mostly carbon dioxide. On the bright side, and the Mars Oxygen In Situ Resource Utilization Experiment, the Mars Oxy can produce oxygen on Mars, which could be crucial for future missions. As for energy sources on Mars, solar, wind, and geothermal energy are a few promising options. Solar power is less effective on Mars due to weaker sunlight and dust storms. But wind power and geothermal energy could serve as reliable alternatives. With these sources in place, humans could potentially sustain life on Mars. But let's get back to comparing our sibling planets. While both Mars and Earth have moons, and Mars even has 2 of them, Venus has 0, just like Mercury. Due to its proximity to the Sun and the star's gravitational pull, Mercury lacks the ability to retain its own moon. The likelihood of any moon orbiting Mercury either colliding with the planet or being drawn into the orbit of the Sun is high. That's all clear and understandable. But the absence of moons around Venus remains an unsolved puzzle for scientists. Despite Venus's scorching hot temperatures, scientists think that even today it might not be as hostile to life as we once thought. A recent MIT study found 19 amino acids surviving in a Venus-like solution for the whole month. Yep, some like it hot. Also, Rocket Lab and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology are teaming up to send an uncrewed spacecraft, Venus Life Finder, on a mission to Venus. This spacecraft will search for signs of life in the Venusian atmosphere using a special instrument called an autofluorescing nephelometer. And no, I didn't make that up. Originally set to launch in 2023, the mission is now pushed back to December 2024 with arrival at Venus in May 2025. The goal of the mission is to discover organic compounds in Venus's atmosphere, which could point to the possibility of habitable conditions in the cloud layer. The spacecraft is designed with a Photon Explorer cruise stage and a compact atmospheric probe equipped with that nephelometer thingy. The small probe will descend through the Venusian atmosphere, collecting data on cloud particles and organic compounds. In 2020, scientists made a big announcement about finding phosphine on Venus, a compound that could be linked to life. While they're still working on confirming this, using information from telescopes or even past missions, there might be evidence hidden in old NASA data received from Venus that could shed more light on the discovery. The potential presence of phosphine on Venus has stirred excitement and caution among scientists. To make sure, they need more data from telescopes or new space missions. If they find this gas, it might mean there is some form of life producing it in the planet's clouds. This discovery would be a huge step toward understanding Venus better. Some experts think that sending probes to Venus to directly detect phosphine would be the most effective way to confirm its presence. An 80s NASA mission may have already detected phosphine, but scientists back then didn't realize it. Now, this data is being re-evaluated to uncover any overlooked evidence of the presence of the gas. This could also suggest that the compound has been in Venus's atmosphere for decades, raising questions about its source. But not everyone is convinced of this interpretation, which evokes a debate among scientists about the true nature of the detected gases. Old data from other missions may also hold clues about phosphate on Venus. While new spacecraft are going to explore the planet, it's possible that the key to unlocking this mystery lies in decades-old mission records. In total, there have been 46 space missions to Venus, including some flybys where gravity lent a helping hand. The last time we successfully landed a spacecraft on Venus was way back in June 1985 as part of the Vega 2 mission. So, let's see what Venus Life Finder will discover.
Pandora, that magical planet with floating mountains and crazy glowing jungle you've seen in Avatar, could be real. Scientists, thanks to the mighty James Webb Space Telescope, might have found a planet in almost the exact spot where Pandora is set in the movie. It's the same star system, Alpha Centauri, our closest neighbor, just 4 light-years away. The planet they spotted is called S1 for now. Sounds like a phone model, but this thing is a gas giant like Jupiter or Saturn, just a little lighter. You couldn't land on it, it's just a giant ball of gas. Temperatures there are around 40 to 50 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. But here's the plot twist. Gas giants often come with moons. Jupiter's got 95, Saturn's got more than 140. And some of those moons are fascinating places for life. Europa with its underground ocean, Titan with lakes of methane. Now, S1 is a gas giant like Jupiter and Saturn, but sitting in the habitable zone of a sun-like star. That means warmth, liquid water, chemistry. If S1 has moons, and at least one is Mars-sized, then we've got the closest possible spot where extraterrestrial life might actually exist. The James Webb Telescope had a hard time spotting S1. Alpha Centauri A, the star it orbits, is so bright that it was like trying to look for a firefly sitting next to a car's headlights. The telescope had to put on special cosmic sunglasses called a coronagraph to block the star's glare. And for a moment in 2024, it worked. The scientists saw an object over 10,000 times fainter than Alpha Centauri A, but twice as far from it as our Earth is from the Sun. But when they went back in early 2025 to check again, poof, gone. Some people even thought it was never there, but the data suggests it's real and it's probably just swung around in its orbit, hiding behind the light. Astronomers think we'll be able to see it again around 2026 or 2027, when they test a new, super advanced telescope. And then we'll probably get the answer if it's good for life or not. But even if it's so, it doesn't mean we should all pack our bags and move to Pandora. Even if S1 has a habitable moon, it's still 4 light-years away, and that's about 25 trillion miles. If you hopped on the fastest rocket humans have ever built, you'd still be traveling for tens of thousands of years. So yeah, not exactly a weekend trip, but in terms of science, this is huge. It gives us a target, a place to point our telescopes, a system where we can dream of sending probes someday. And it's pretty wild that the first serious Pandora candidate is in the exact same neighborhood James Cameron picked for his movie. S1 isn't the only new planet blowing the minds of scientists. In June 2025, the James Webb Telescope spotted TWA-7b. It's a baby giant planet, orbiting a star just 110 light-years away. The star it orbits is only 6 million years old. That's nothing in space terms. Earth is 4.5 billion years old. This star still wears a dusty debris disk around it, the leftover construction materials from planet building. Since the 1990s, astronomers have tracked down about 5,900 exoplanets. They found almost all of them indirectly, through the slight dimming of a star's light when a planet passes in front of it. It's called the transit method. So they directly photographed less than 2% of all those thousands of worlds, and TWA-7b is one of them. It's actually the lightest planet ever directly imaged, 10 times less massive than the last record holder. That's insanely small for something Webb could spot, and it shows just how ridiculously sensitive and powerful Webb's instruments really are. Then there's this star system, called L98-59. It's only 35 light-years away, still close, just a little farther than Alpha Centauri. Scientists already knew it had a few small planets, but in 2025, astronomers found a 5th one. It's about 3 times as heavy as our Earth, about 1.4 Earth radii, and completes an orbit in 28 Earth days. It sits right in the habitable zone. That means it could have liquid water on its surface, if it's rocky and has an atmosphere. This system is basically a mini solar system with several planets lined up like ducks in a row. The star itself is a red dwarf, so it's cooler than our sun. But that just means the habitable zone is tucked in closer. If we ever detect an atmosphere around L98-59f, it could reveal gases like oxygen or methane, which are signs of life. Scientists are already itching to point Webb at this planet and try to sniff its air. This could be one of the best candidates for finding another Earth-like world. And speaking of Earth-like, meet another candidate for life. This exoplanet is about 20 light-years away, orbiting a sun-like star. It's what scientists call a super-Earth. That means it's rocky like Earth, but bigger, about 6 times the mass. With stronger gravity, it might hold on to a thicker atmosphere than we do, which could mean more stable climates. And it's in the habitable zone too. But this exoplanet doesn't just cruise around its star in a neat little circle like Earth does. Its orbit is eccentric, which basically means it swings closer and farther from its star as it loops around. That's a big deal, because it actually drifts in and out of the habitable zone, the Goldilocks zone where liquid water could exist. At some point, any water there might freeze solid, and at other times it could melt into oceans, depending on where the planet is in its journey. This weird setup gives scientists a kind of playground for testing and tweaking their habitability models. And since it's so close in cosmic terms, its light is stronger and easier for our telescopes to pick up. So it's a dream target for the next-gen telescopes. And if we ever develop interstellar probes, like little robotic scouts that can zip along at a fraction of light speed, HD 20794D would definitely be one of the first stops. Of course, not every planet out there is cozy or habitable. TOI 2431b is about 1.5 times Earth's radius, 6 times heavier, and has a crazy density. It hugs its star so tightly that it completes an orbit in just 5.4 hours. That's right, an entire year on this planet is shorter than your workday. The distance to its star is way closer than Mercury is to the Sun. That's why its surface is cooked at around 2000 K, and that's hot enough to melt rock. Because of its extreme orbit, scientists labeled it an ultra-short period, USP, Earth-sized exoplanet, one of the shortest period worlds we've ever found. The planet is also likely tidally squished, with its shortest axis being about 9% shorter than its longest, stretched like Play-Doh. Plus, scientists calculated how long before its orbit starts collapsing, and it's only 31 million years. That's shorter than any other known USP planet. In cosmic terms, it's like a firework going off. Blink, and it's gone. As for the host star, TOI 2431 is about 2/3 the mass and size of the Sun, roughly 2 billion years old, and cooler and dimmer than our Sun. Obviously, TOI 2431b isn't a place for life. It's way too hot, way too extreme. But astronomers think this exoplanet is a prime target for the James Webb Space Telescope. It could study the way light changes as the planet orbits to figure out whether it has an atmosphere and what its molten surface is really made of. Every planet humans find, whether it's a potential home or a doomed fireball, tells us something about what's possible. The discovery of S1 near Alpha Centauri feels extra special because it's right on our doorstep. Of course, we're still waiting for confirmation, but when or if we get it, it'll change the whole game.
You take off from Earth and park your spacecraft somewhere near the Moon. You're now almost 240,000 miles away from your home planet. That's almost 100 widths of the United States. Now you take out a giant hammer and an enormous chisel using the robotic arms of your spaceship. You place the chisel at the Earth's North Pole and strike its head with the hammer. Earth splits open like an eggshell, and you see it, another planet. It's Theia, and it's hiding inside our planet like a yolk in an egg. You'd need to go back in time 4.5 billion years to find out how it got there. This beautiful nebula will soon become our solar system. Colored dust and various space debris are slowly coming closer toward the common center. Soon this jigsaw puzzle of debris becomes too heavy and dense. The temperature inside the giant is rising. Soon, it gets so high that it triggers a nuclear chain reaction. Another second and bam! There's an explosion so powerful that the shockwaves travel far into dark space, and the blinding flash from this blast can be seen from the other side of the Milky Way galaxy. When the dust clears a little, you can see that a bright light is still shining at the very center of the explosion. This newborn star is the Sun. It weighs as much as 333,000 Earths. If the Sun was a bucket, you'd need 1.3 million Earth-sized planets to fill it. You're interested in a small object over there, 93 million miles away from the Sun. This pile of rocks and hot lava is Earth. Right now, the planet is busy forming its core, while the oceans of lava are gradually cooling down. But a few tens of million years after the Sun's birth, you notice a strange object hurtling toward Earth. It's Theia. This small planet was born at about the same time as Earth, and now it's following a crazy spiral trajectory at enormous speed. Scientists believe Theia was kind of a ball Jupiter and Venus played with. Venus was pulling Theia in one direction, Then Big Brother Jupiter pulled it back. But the Sun makes up 99.8% of the mass of the entire solar system. That's why the star sets its own rules. It makes Theia move in almost the same orbit as Earth. So they inevitably come closer and closer to each other until they become next-door neighbors. We see that Theia is the size of Mars and as wide as the Atlantic Ocean from New York to Portugal. A collision can't be avoided. Theia is traveling toward Earth at nearly 9,000 miles per hour. That's 11 times faster than the speed of sound. If the smaller planet crashes into Earth at a particular angle, Earth will most likely be torn apart, as well as Theia itself. The collision will cause a huge blast, visible on other planets even on a bright day. Nothing will be left but some burning dust and debris. Even if Theia touches Earth only lightly, it'll still knock out a chunk of our planet the size of Australia. But the collision with Theia happens at a perfect 45-degree angle. It strikes the Earth at tremendous speed. The explosion literally vaporizes huge amounts of rock, and the shock wave sends the remaining debris into Earth's orbit. A huge crater is formed at the impact site. Soon, it gets filled with boiling lava. The remnants of Theia and the ejected fragments of Earth begin to orbit our planet. According to one version, these fragments form two moons. At first, they travel together, but one day they get too close to each other and collide, forming one large space body. The other theory claims that all the shards start being pulled by the remnants of Theia. Sometime later, they form the moon as we now know it. At that point in the past, though, it's just red-hot rock and lava. The collision at this angle slightly tilts our planet and accelerates its rotation. It's because of Theia that we have different seasons and 24 hours in a day. Earth has lithospheric plates. These are enormous solid pieces that make up the crust of our planet. After the collision with Theia, they start to break and crack. It causes carbon, a primary component of all known life on Earth, to start moving all over our planet. So, Earth gets some kind of metabolism. After a few 100 million years, the first living creatures start to appear on our planet. Over nearly 4 billion years, simple single-celled organisms have been evolving into the life you see today. According to scientists, such a collision is a very rare event. The probability that somewhere out there, there's a planet like ours that has survived the same catastrophe is extremely small. This may be the reason why we are yet to find traces of other civilizations out there in space. Meanwhile, the remains of Theia are still here on Earth. Of course, it doesn't look like an entire planet stuck inside our own. Most of the fragments have melted and blended into the Earth's crust. If you take the top layer off our planet, you'll see two huge lava blobs the size of entire continents. They're right below Africa and the Pacific Ocean. Presumably, these are the remains of Theia. They didn't mix with Earth's mantle because of different densities. It's like mixing water and oil in a glass. The oil will always float up over the water and create an even layer on top of it. But if you raise those lava patches up to the surface, they'd be 100 times higher than Mount Everest. Other remains of Theia might be on the moon. The Apollo space missions brought back many soil samples for analysis. Scientists have concluded that the moon is very similar to Earth in structure. People could drill deep down and take samples there. Then they'd analyze the blobs from Earth. If their structure matched, it'd be 100% proof that Theia did hit Earth 4.5 billion years ago. And that's how we got the moon. But for the time being, Theia remains somewhat mysterious. Scientists are still not sure that the planet actually existed. The whole idea perfectly fits the model of the moon's creation. But in fact, this incredible collision may have never happened.
Hop on the bright side of life together with our brand new tees, hoodies, and more. Click the link to pick your choice.
Now you travel 41 light years away from Earth to the planet 55 Cancri E. It's about twice the size of Earth and 8 times heavier. You take out your giant hammer again and use it to hit the chisel. The planet cracks, and you see it's a giant diamond. The temperature on this planet is tens of times higher than that of Earth, and its soil is rich in carbon. The heat puts a lot of pressure on this carbon. Its structure changes. First, it turns into graphite. Some more pressure, and graphite turns into diamond. On Earth, diamonds form at depths below 60 miles, where the pressure is 50,000 times greater than on the surface. The temperatures there rise over 1,000 degrees, which is as hot as fire. Diamonds are ejected closer to the surface in volcanic eruptions. Still, people have to dig mines 1,500 feet deep to find these beautiful gems. The Golden Jubilee diamond is the biggest cut and faceted diamond on Earth. It weighs as much as a chocolate bar and is the size of a hamster. Its price is about $12 million. Now imagine a diamond the size of an entire planet. You decide to fly back to the solar system. Your destination is Jupiter's moon, Europa. It's as wide as the distance between Seattle and Houston, and its mass is less than 1% the mass of Earth. Its surface is enclosed in an icy crust. It's about 19 miles thick. But what if you crack this crust with your giant hammer? Wow, Europa is completely covered in water. It's freezing here, 3 times colder than at the North Pole on Earth. The water turns into ice almost instantly, but the ocean beneath the surface is still liquid. Europa interacts with Jupiter gravitationally, just like the moon with Earth. This creates tidal forces and heats Europa's core. The core melts the ice around it. The result is a huge ocean, 2 to 3 times larger than all of Earth's oceans combined. Scientists believe that water is the basis of life. It may mean that life may exist on Europa. There could be thermal springs, just like at the bottom of our oceans. The water there is probably much warmer. And even though the pressure and temperature in such places are likely to be extreme, simple bacteria may live there. Europa is almost the same age as Earth. This means there has been enough time for living organisms to appear and evolve. Who knows? Maybe some advanced civilization is already blooming under this crust of ice. They may be building big cities and dreaming of conquering space right now. But the only thing people can do at the moment is send a probe to Europa and find out if life is possible there. Have you ever wondered why Earth doesn't have rings? Gas giants, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, have them. But the rocky planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, don't. 2 theories describe how ring systems potentially developed. The first one says that rings may have formed from leftovers that date from the time a certain planet was forming. Or, as the second one says, they could be the remains of a moon that was either destroyed in a collision or broken apart by the gravitational pull of its parent planet. Scientists still don't know why the gas giants have rings, but they think it could be because they formed in the outer solar system. Rocky planets formed in the inner area of our solar system, which is why they were more protected from potential impacts and collisions that might have formed rings around them. Or the reason is that the bigger planets have a larger volume, which allows a ring system to remain stable. Some scientists think our planet did have a ring system a long time ago. In its early stage, a Mars-sized object hit the Earth, and this probably resulted in a dense ring of debris. But its ring system pretty soon coalesced, and that's the way our moon was formed. More than 10 years ago, in 2011, astronomers found a huge water vapor cloud about 12 billion light-years away from our planet. This cloud is the oldest source of water that we know of. It dates back to when the universe was only 1.6 billion years old, and now it's 13.8 billion years old. This unusual cloud is also the biggest source of water that we know of. It holds 140 trillion times the amount of water that the Earth contains in all its oceans. Enormous. The cool thing is, this vapor cloud is kind of feeding a black hole. It may contain enough gases, such as carbon monoxide, to help its black hole grow even 6 times bigger than it is now. We all know that Earth has 1 moon, but there are 2 more asteroids, 3753 Carina and 2002 AA29, locked into co-orbital orbits with our planet. The first one doesn't really circle around the Earth, but has some sort of a synchronized orbit with the planet, which is why it looks like it's following the Earth in a stable orbit, while in reality, it has its own specific path around the Sun. The other one, 2002 AA29, follows a horseshoe orbit around our planet. Its specific path brings the asteroid closer to us every 95 years. You'd expect Neptune to be an extremely cold and dark place. After all, It's an ice giant 2.8 billion miles away from the Sun. There's not too much sunlight there, so noon on Neptune is similar to twilight on our planet. But this ice giant appears to be creating its own heat. To be precise, 2.6 times more heat than it gets from the Sun. This probably has to do with all the pressure near the planet's core. It builds and releases hydrogen, which keeps Neptune's center at a crazy temperature of 9,300 degrees Fahrenheit. But its atmosphere is still quite chilly. It ranges from about negative 240 degrees Fahrenheit to negative 330 degrees Fahrenheit. What shape do you think of when someone mentions storms? Probably long ovals of hurricanes and conical tornadoes. But that's something we see on Earth. At Saturn's North Pole, a storm has been raging for at least the past 40 years, and it has a hexagonal shape. Such a weird shape probably has something to do with Saturn's turbulent gas, or maybe even with zonal jets that extend many miles down into a region of extremely high pressure. Have you ever wondered why planets don't twinkle while stars do? The thing is, if you were out there in space, you wouldn't see them twinkling at all. The reason we see stars twinkling is because of Earth's atmosphere. The pin-sized light coming from a star hits the atmosphere. The atmosphere then refracts it, which sends the light skittering off in a zigzag. That's what we perceive as the twinkle. Planets appear much bigger to us than just pinpoints. And yes, their light zigs and zags after hitting the atmosphere too. But those motions cancel each other out, which is why we don't see twinkling, but only a steady glow. In some regions, you can expect big changes in temperature. For example, in Montana, where in a single day, temperatures went from negative 54 degrees Fahrenheit to 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, sounds like a lot, but it's still nothing compared to Mercury, where temperatures tend to vary over 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit in a single day. They start out at negative 280 degrees Fahrenheit at night, and eventually go up to 800 degrees Fahrenheit during the daytime. Picture a wardrobe you'd need to prepare for a single 24-hour visit to Mercury. Why doesn't the atmosphere of our home planet vanish and disappear into the vacuum of space? Even though we can't see them, the gas and vapor molecules that our atmosphere consists of all have mass. As such, all of these molecules feel the gravitational pull of the Earth, just like we do. They could escape, true, if they had enough energy. For instance, if our planet was closer to the Sun, the atmosphere would be hotter, and its molecules could get away easier. But the Earth, fortunately, is just at the right distance from the Sun and has exactly enough mass to keep its atmosphere in the same place. When you think of volcanoes, you probably picture hot molten lava coming out of them. At least, that's how it works on Earth. But in space, volcanoes can spew methane, water, or even ammonia. Up there, a volcano can also spew specific materials that freeze as they erupt. Then they turn into frozen vapor and some sort of volcanic snow. It's a common thing on Jupiter's moons Europa and Io, also on Pluto and Saturn's moon Titan. They're called cryovolcanoes, and Io has extremely active ones. Over there, you'd see hundreds of vents with plumes of frozen vapor that tend to extend about 250 miles. And NASA vehicles have even captured some erupting in real time. Bam! Planets, moons, asteroids, comets, and stars, they can all collide, and galaxies too. Our galaxy, the Milky Way, is 2.5 million light-years away from Andromeda, our closest galactic neighbor. Astronomers believe the Milky Way is on a collision course that will destroy both galaxies in the distant future, or at least galaxies as we know them. The two galaxies are going faster and faster toward each other at a rapid clip, 250,000 miles per hour. It will be chaotic, and many planets and stars won't survive the collision. Eventually, these two massive entities will merge and turn into a completely new, unrecognizable galaxy. But here's a small comfort. Scientists assume this is not scheduled to happen for another 4 billion years. In case you want to fuse two pieces of metal together, you already know the only way to do that is to apply heat so these pieces can reach their melting points. In space, you don't need heat to do such a thing, or basically, any action at all. We call it cold welding, and such a phenomenon happens when you slide the metal pieces over each other. In that case, they wear away their protective oxide layers. On Earth, These layers stop them from fusing, but in space, this type of protection disappears. That's why the electrons from one piece of metal just flow into the other piece. And ta-da! They're one without any effort. Scientists used to believe the Earth was the only planet in our solar system with tectonic activity going on. Tectonically active means plates under the crust are moving. This process releases heat, which then deforms the Earth's surface and leads to it shrinking. But now, we know this happens on other planets too. Mercury is also shrinking, and scientists found it out in 2016 when the Messenger spacecraft orbited the planet and sent back some important data. It revealed that there were cliff-like landforms known as fault scarps on Mercury's surface. Since these landforms are relatively small, they probably didn't form that long ago. That means Mercury is still contracting, even 4.5 billion years after our solar system was formed. Jupiter's Great Red Spot is shrinking as well. It's a huge storm that rages on the planet's surface. It's reddish, a bit oval in shape, and more than 10,000 miles wide. Yep, that's big enough to swallow the Earth. And now, it's been slowly but surely shrinking for a couple of centuries. The Great Red Spot is just one of many high-pressure storms that occur across Jupiter due to all those gases present there, which is something that classifies Jupiter as a gas giant. But just because it's shrinking doesn't mean the Great Red Spot is going to blow itself out anytime soon. It's even growing taller.
It's there. I finally see it. For the first time in my life. Grayish body far away in the sky, hidden behind the clouds, the size of 1/4 of a full moon. It won't be there for long. The last time it was there was 33 years ago. And we'll have to wait for 33 years more to see it again. Telus, the mysterious planet humankind still have so much to learn about. For a long time, Earth was the only planet quietly traveling its circular orbit around the center of our solar system, the Sun. Our solar system was generally a pretty stable place. Jupiter, Saturn, Mars, and other planets, they all acted in a predictable way. Always the same orbits. Until some time ago, something unexpected happened. Another planet entered the Earth's orbit. No one knows where exactly it came from, since it wasn't one of the 7 planets from our solar system. We had advanced devices that tracked asteroids, meteorites, and other space bodies, but scientists were still terrified when they saw such a big, round body suddenly coming toward us at a great speed. First, they thought it was a huge asteroid and were afraid it would collide with us. Humankind was prepared for the worst because it was too late to deflect it. But when the huge body came closer, to the distance of 93 million miles, which is the average distance between the Earth and the Sun, it suddenly changed direction. We now know that's the closest it could get to the Earth, with the size similar to our planet. The orbiting body needs to meet 3 criteria to be called a planet. It needs to be a perfect sphere, orbit the Sun, and can't orbit any other body, like another planet. It also needs to have a clear orbit of any protoplanets, planetesimals, or other planetary competitors. Scientists were tracking the orbit of the new planet they later named Telus, which is a Latin word for Earth. When it entered the Earth's orbit, it was like something happened with their gravitational forces, so these 2 planets created a completely new orbit, in the shape of a horseshoe. Planets could be in the same zone around the Sun in such an orbit. That means they don't move in a circle around a star, but each goes along the edge of some sort of track in the shape of a horseshoe with crescents that face each other, like 2 halves of a broken ring. For example, Saturn and its 2 moons, Janus and Epimetheus, they dance around Saturn with the stable horseshoe orbit and travel around 93,000 miles from Saturn, beyond its main rings. The closest they come to each other is 9,300 miles. Nothing occupied our media for years but new mysterious events. It was chaos at first because we didn't know how things would end. No one went to school, work, college. We were all waiting for directions on what to do. People were first very afraid, but later excited when we found out that's a planet similar to Earth, which means we could get new friends. Scientists believe Telus used to share the orbit with some other unknown planet in another solar system. We never had 2 planets sharing the same orbit, but some other solar systems could have it. When 2 planets share the orbit and get closer, one can kick another from the orbit in the unknown direction or even be pushed into the Sun because the gravitational forces of 2 planets interact. If 2 gravitations would attract each other, they could start moving towards each other and bam, big collision. Or they could successfully share their orbit, shaping a horseshoe orbit-like path, something that happened with Earth and Telus. It's not the first time it happened to Earth. 4.5 billion years ago, when the solar system existed for only a few tens of millions of years, there was a space object as big as Mars moving towards our planet and slammed into it. The theory says the Earth pulled the debris from that planet into its orbit, and those pieces eventually formed the moon we have today. The collision probably caused resurfacing on the Earth. The oldest rocks we found on our planet are still younger than some meteorites we found. Uranus probably also had a huge collision. Billions of years ago, there was a space object at least twice bigger than the Earth, and it came very close to Uranus, the gas giant. Two bodies collided with the force so powerful it made Uranus shift into its side, but it survived. But it's been rotating on its side, different than any other planet in our solar system ever since then. The early solar system was created because gravity pulled a cloud of gas and dust together. It was a chaotic place where debris was constantly slamming into other planets that were growing and forming at that time. Two planets can hardly share the same exact orbit because they can't remain stable. Quasi-stable orbit maybe, which technically means no order. Everything is unstable. Why we can't be completely relaxed with Telus, even though things look good now. It doesn't mean the collision will happen right away. It can take billions of years before that. There are things called Lagrange points, 5 specific points where the gravitation of some planet and the Sun cancel out. If you consider masses as just one planet and the Sun, all 3 bodies can move in a predictable orbit forever. But out of these 5 points, only 2 are stable. Anything that happens in the other 3 will cause trouble. Also, 2 of them, L4 and L5, are points where asteroids collect. Gas giants have thousands of these, but our planet has only one, the asteroid 3753 Cryovolcanoes, and it's in the quasi-stable orbit with our world. It's not going to remain stable forever, but if it was like this, 2 planets can share orbits. Days are a little bit longer now, the year is also longer. We still can't settle for the calendar because the conditions are still changing and the planets are still adjusting to their new orbit. The climate is the same for now, probably similar to one on Telus, since we're in the same disk around the Sun. We discovered it's pretty similar to Earth and has similar conditions, which means we could maybe live there in the future. The planet comes to the closest point every 33 years, and later it's behind the Sun, so we're slowly collecting data about conditions. We were thinking about moving there, but then something exciting happened. We started getting messages from space for the first time. They came by radio frequencies in some unknown language. We're currently trying to decipher their messages and, at the same time, preparing for their first visit. We believe whoever's out there comes in peace. They've come a long way to our solar system. Today is the day we are going to visit Telus for the first time. In fact, the spaceships are going to be there any minute. They went there 9 days ago. Journalists are ready. People are cheering. Cameras are on. We're all waiting. Today, Telus is at the closest point and won't stay there for too long, maybe a couple of days. So we don't have that much time to explore it and see who's there. I hope we'll be able to visit them, make new friends, collaborate, travel to see new places. Till now, we only saw some pictures scientists took from the distance. It seems they have lots of water. Researchers believe many waterfalls, lakes, but much deeper and wider than ours. Perhaps hiding some magnificent creature we don't have. They think there could be volcanoes. Maybe we'll find something bigger than Olympus Mons on Mars, which is the biggest volcano we found in our solar system, which is the size of Arizona, a staggering 370 miles across. Maybe it has super strong winds, like Venus, whose winds are 50 times faster than its rotation. Who knows if there's water ice, the matter that exists all over our solar system, some in shadowed craters on the Moon and Mercury. Maybe Telus will change its size, like Mercury, that has cliff-like landforms with relatively small fault scarps, so we believe it's slowly but constantly shrinking. Telus perhaps has tall mountains, like Pluto, which isn't the planet but still has impressive icy mountains, 11,000 feet tall. Anyway, today's the day when we find out. Wish us luck.
The only life that we are certain about so far in the entire universe is on planet Earth. Whether that life is intelligent is, let's say, arguable. But anyway, it's not surprising that we're tirelessly searching for life on other planets. So far, they've discovered more than 4,000 of them. But what's even cooler? NASA has compiled a new list of 24 planets that aren't just Earth-like, they're better. The conditions on them are so good that they're more comfortable than on our planet. So let's examine some of them. KOI 5715.01. Let's be coy, shall we? This wonderful planet is in the constellation Cygnus. And why is it so wonderful? Well, our Sun is a yellow dwarf. And sorry, Sun, even though you're not bad at supporting life, there are some stars that can do it better. Nothing personal. The planet KOI 5715.01 orbits near an orange dwarf. Orange dwarfs are stars slightly smaller than our Sun and have a little lower luminosity. Did you like the alliteration there? Anyway, don't worry, it doesn't mean we're going to live in complete darkness. In fact, if the planet is found closer to the Sun and it has a thicker atmosphere, it may even be lighter and more colorful than on Earth. Now, our Sun has a very short lifespan. Right now, it has 7 to 8 billion years left to live, a little longer than Earth's age. But orange dwarfs can live from 45 to 70 billion years. This is great not only because we'll be able to hang out on this planet longer, but also because the planets around these stars have more time to form life. Now, ideally, we would need to find a planet next to an orange dwarf that is about 7 billion years old. It's very likely there will be at least some organisms there. KOI 5715.01 is about 5.5 billion years old. Yeah, it may not seem mature enough, but that's okay, neither do I. Our Earth is a billion years younger, and that didn't stop us. The planet is quite close to its star and is in a habitable zone. 1 year there lasts 190 days. Imagine going to elementary school and already getting a driver's license. It's almost 2 times larger than the Earth. The average temperature there is 52 degrees Fahrenheit, which is slightly less than ours, 57. But it mostly feels warmer there because strong gravity helps it hold on to heat in the atmosphere longer. It's a little too far away though, like 3,000 light-years from Earth, which is about 18 quadrillion miles. Yep, better bring a really big lunch with you. KOI 3010.01. This planet is found next to the star KOI 2010. This planet sounds like a very pleasant world. The average temperature on this planet is 67 degrees, so a little warmer than ours. But that's a good thing. Scientists believe that on a perfect planet, the temperature should be just about 10 degrees hotter than on Earth. The more heat there is on the planet, the more comfortable it is to live there. Also, the higher chances of developing life. The radius of this planet is nearly 1.5 times larger than Earth. There's some atmosphere, although we're not yet sure about its composition, but it's probably like the Earth's. Scientists think that we'll find an ocean there, and it can cover up to 60% of the surface, which is also cool. In a perfect world, water and land should be distributed more evenly than on our planet. A little more land means a little more territory and resources, right? But listen, this planet is actually very similar to the Earth. The semblance is so striking that scientists believe we have an 84% chance to find life there. Of course, not necessarily an intelligent life, but at least some animals. Wouldn't that be cool? Now, what do you think they could look like? Very Earth-like planet, but with stronger gravity. Well, if someone lives there, they're probably big but have a small height and strong little legs. Sounds adorable and scary. But we won't be able to find out the truth anytime soon. So far, for us, these planets are microscopic dots in space. We only have some dry, boring data about them and don't even know what they look like. We'll have to wait until we can find a way to get closer to these planets. Kepler 186f. This is also one of the best candidates for having life. This rather cute planet was nicknamed the Earth's cousin because it does have a strong resemblance. Anyway, these two planets are like sisters, not twins. Kepler 186f rotates near a red dwarf. Red dwarfs are stars even dimmer and smaller than orange dwarfs. Yeah, they'll also live for a very, very long time, but their luminosity is also quite low. However, Kepler 186f is closer to its star than we're to our Sun, so it shouldn't be too dark there. Well, at least not night-like dark. The sky on this planet is sure to be an unusual shade of red, like sunsets on Earth. What do you think? Would you like to live on a planet with an eternal sunset? The size of this planet is about the same as Earth. Not bad, not perfect. Why so? Because the coolest planets are those that are bigger than Earth and have stronger gravity. Now you'll probably say, but wouldn't it be harder to walk there and even harder to get out of bed on Monday? Of course. But on the other hand, this planet will pull the atmosphere better. The atmosphere will be thicker and denser. This means more protection from the scary space stuff, more oxygen, and more heat. Not to mention the fact that the bigger planets have more space to settle. Awesome, right? But of course, the Earth's size is also an excellent choice. Another cool fact is that the tilt of Kepler 186f is about the same as ours. It means that there should be stable seasons and a normal day-night cycle. Do you know how important the tilt of the planet is? Let's look at Mars. Mars is also, in fact, found in the habitable zone of our Sun. But its tilt is very unstable, and as a result, the entire ocean that could have been on it once now completely dried up. Today, it's just a red desert, and there's no life there. At least not as far as we know, but you see how important these tiny details are? This planet is also quite far away from us, 490 light-years. That's about 3 quadrillion miles. So yeah, we're just going to keep waiting for intergalactic travel. Kepler 62e and 62f. These planets were called the most Earth-like before we discovered Kepler 186f. They're very comparable to our home. Kepler 62e is about 1.5 times larger than Earth, and Kepler 62f is just slightly smaller than that. They're located in the constellation Lyra, which is about 1,200 light-years away from us. They both also orbit a red dwarf. 1 year on Kepler 62e lasts about 122 days, even less than on that first planet we talked about. Scientists believe that both 62e and 62f are sort of water worlds, warm places mostly, or even completely covered with water. If there is land there, it's probably just some islands. A world consisting entirely of islands. A fantasy dream for some, think Hawaii, and a nightmare for others, think Megalodon. But if you're a fan of ancient marine animals, just imagine how gigantic they could be there. Still, there are many things we don't know about this planet. Does it have a surface? What about its composition, density? One day, maybe we'll be able to answer these questions. And so, that's it for the super-Earths. Of course, the original list is much longer, and you can go check it out on the internet. Now, the best thing about all this is that these are planets that are better than the Earth. But we also know thousands of other exoplanets that are just close enough to ours. And the odds are, a few of them have at least some form of life. But they're very, very far away, so we have no way to check it out right now. Perhaps, down the road, we'll find some cool creatures on many of them. Our good old solar system is actually a pretty bizarre place, well, with all its out-of-this-world phenomena that we humans haven't managed to explain yet. There are rumors that a gigantic, undiscovered planet is hiding behind Neptune. Volcanoes on Pluto spew ice, and a colossal canyon on Mars can accommodate the whole U.S. territory and most of Cleveland. Well, let's figure out if it's true by talking about the most mystifying solar system facts. The solar system is 4.6 billion years old. So old it's a senior solar system. Scientists came to this conclusion after they studied the oldest material they managed to get a hold of. And by that, I mean meteorites, of course. You won't be able to wear a hat on Venus, ever, and just try to stand on your feet. The planet is insanely windy. Its upper winds blow 50 times faster than the planet rotates. What's more, these fierce winds never stop and can get even stronger with time. Want to get away? You'll have to travel 11 billion miles away from Earth before ever leaving the solar system. Take your Google Maps with you. You probably heard of methane gas, a byproduct of natural processes such as volcanic activity and cows. Anyway, this gas is not only a part of the Martian atmosphere, but also the thing that confuses astronomers to no end. The thing is that the volume of methane on Mars keeps wavering, and scientists just can't figure out where it might be coming from. Can there be cows on Mars? As you may remember, Pluto used to be a planet but was stripped of this title in 2006. Later, it was reclassified as a dwarf planet. Gee, make up your mind. But the most unexpected fact about this celestial body is that its diameter is smaller than that of the US. See for yourself. The greatest distance across the country, from Maine to Northern California, is about 2,800 miles. As for Pluto, it's only 1,473 miles across. The planet Uranus, or Uranus, you can't win either way, rotates on its side, and astronomers have no idea why the planet has chosen such an unusual position. The culprits could be ancient mega-powerful collisions, but so far it's just a theory. By the way, this is the only planet laying on its side. Our Sun is insanely massive. Want some proof? Well, 99.86% of all the mass in the solar system is in the mass of the Sun, in particular the hydrogen and helium it's made of. The remaining 0.14% is mostly the mass of the solar system's 8 planets. Earth might not be the only tectonically active planet in the solar system. Astronomers have spotted some landforms looking like cliffs on Mercury. If it's so, the tectonic activity could explain the rapid shrinking of the planet. In most sci-fi movies about space, the main character gets into an asteroid belt and must dodge countless rocks that threaten to damage their spacecraft. Well, sorry to disappoint, but that's nothing like the real thing. The only asteroid belt astronomers know about is located between Mars and Jupiter. There are thousands of asteroids in this region, but they're so widely spaced that the chance of collision is next to nothing. You just ruined it. Sorry. Behind the orbit of Neptune lies the mysterious Kuiper Belt, filled with massive icy objects. The most curious thing about this space formation, though, is that scientists can't explain the pattern of its movement. The only explanation they have is that Neptune might be hiding a ginormous planet from our sight. This hypothetical planet has already got the name Planet 9, and all we have to do is wait until its existence is confirmed. Or not. Volcanoes on Earth are as different from those on Pluto as fire and ice, and I mean it. While we have volcanoes spilling lava on our planet, the volcanoes on Pluto spit ice. When frozen water expands, and this enormous pressure builds up until one day, bang, the ice erupts. In the process, a new cryovolcano gets formed. One of Saturn's moons, Lepidus, has a unique color. It's two-toned. One of its hemispheres is light and the other is eerily dark. Scientists haven't figured out this mystery yet. There's another weird thing about Pluto, or rather, about its atmosphere. First, it rises way higher above the surface of the dwarf planet than, for example, the Earth's atmosphere. What's more, the atmosphere on Pluto has more than 20 layers, and all of them are super cold and very condensed. We live inside the Sun. No, I don't mean that we're inhabitants of the red-hot ball of light approximately 93 million miles away. The thing is that the Sun's atmosphere stretches far beyond its visible surface, and our planet is right within its reach. In fact, it's the gusts of solar wind that create the breathtaking phenomenon known as the Northern and Southern Lights. The ocean on Jupiter is larger than any other on the rest of the solar system's planets. But wait! It's not the type of ocean you're thinking about. The one on Jupiter isn't made of water. This mesmerizing thing consists of metallic hydrogen, and its depth is a staggering 25,000 miles, which is almost the same as the circumference of the Earth. The Sun's atmosphere is hotter than the surface of the star. While on the surface, the temperature reaches 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit, the upper atmosphere heats up to millions of degrees. Scientists suspect that explosive bursts of heat from the Sun may have something to do with this unique phenomenon. People came to know about Saturn's beautiful rings in the 1600s, but only recently it became apparent that Saturn isn't the only ringed planet. All the gas giant planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Jupiter, have rings of their own, but they're thin and almost impossible to see. As for Mars, Venus, and Earth, they're made of rocky materials and have no rings whatsoever. Our solar system isn't the only one in the Milky Way galaxy. Far from it. The galaxy we live in houses about 100 billion solar systems. And if that's just our galaxy alone, can you imagine how many there are in the whole universe? At any given moment here on Earth, you can stumble across a rock that's arrived from Mars. After scientists analyzed the chemical content of some meteorites found in the Sahara Desert, Antarctica, and other places on our planet, they came to the shocking conclusion that they have a Martian origin. Since Mercury is the closest planet to the Sun, many people simply assume that it's also the hottest. And that's where they get it wrong, because, in fact, Venus, which is about 30 million miles further from the Sun than Mercury, is way hotter. The thing is that Venus has an incredibly thick atmosphere, which is 100 times denser than the one we have on Earth. On top of that, this atmosphere consists almost entirely of carbon dioxide, also known as a greenhouse gas. These factors make the temperatures on the planet rise to a staggering 875 degrees Fahrenheit, which is hot enough to melt lead. As for Mercury, its maximum temperatures reach only 800 degrees. Jupiter's moon, Io, exists in never-ending chaos due to hundreds of smoking volcanoes on its surface. If you ever visit this place, send me a postcard. Now, you'll see the smoke from these volcanoes billowing up high into Lo's atmosphere. The most enormous volcano in the whole solar system, at least that we know of, is on Mars. The size of this monster is almost as great as the state of Arizona, and its height is as big as that of Mount Everest. How did it grow this huge? The answer is simple. There's much less gravity on Mars in comparison with our planet. Even if you're a tiny celestial body, you can still have a moon of your own. Hey, it's not that hard. In 1993, the Galileo probe was traveling past a miniature asteroid that was no bigger than 20 miles across, and discovered the little thing had a 1-mile-wide moon. Since then, astronomers have found tons of moons orbiting minor planets in our solar system. The valley called Valles Marineris on Mars is more than 10 times larger than Earth's Grand Canyon. And it's another thing that puzzles astronomers. After all, Mars isn't a planet with active plate tectonics. On the surface of Jupiter, there's a weird region that's called the Great Red Spot. Recently, astronomers have concluded that this spot is actually a storm that's been raging on the planet for centuries. But some 20 years ago, scientists noticed that the red region started to shrink. Nowadays, it's just half the size it used to be. And still, the spot is 1.5 times bigger than Earth. How about you? Do you know any other unusual facts about our solar system that I've missed? Then let me know down in the comments. If you learned something new today, then give this video a like and share it with a friend. But hey, don't go space traveling just yet. We have over 2,000 cool videos for you to check out. All you have to do is pick the left or right video, click on it, and enjoy. Stay on the bright side of life.
The profession of an astronaut is probably one of the most intriguing and mysterious out there. But have you ever wondered about the details of their everyday life? Like what's going on under those bulky spacesuits? I mean, some people seriously believe that astronauts wear paper underwear. Others are sure that a lack of gravity allows the grime to just float away. If only. The thing is, astronauts don't do laundry at all. In 2011, NASA commissioned a washing machine for the International Space Station. Was it a joke? In any case, astronauts couldn't use it for apparent reasons. Delivering water to the ISS just to do laundry sounds outrageous and super costly. So, astronauts can only dream of freshly laundered linens and other stuff. Instead, fresh clothes get delivered to the station from Earth just like any other supplies. Unfortunately, it happens not that often since the price of launching literally anything into space is exorbitant. So, astronauts have to wear their clothes for way longer than they would otherwise do on Earth. The only thing that makes this situation a bit better is that astronauts tend to lose some of their sense of smell in space. When interviewed, some astronauts admitted wearing, for example, the same pair of shorts for months and only changing their underwear once every 3 or 4 days. It's probably not surprising that astronauts dress not to impress, but for comfort and convenience. Their typical attire usually consists of short-sleeved shirts and long cargo pants. Those are regular clothes we wear on Earth, nothing special. But when they leave the climate-controlled insides of the ISS, of course, they need special clothes. By that, I mean those very chunky spacesuits. They protect astronauts from insane temperature swings ranging from 250 degrees Fahrenheit in the sun to minus 250 degrees in the shade. But even with all this protection and cooling tubes wicking away body heat, spacewalks tend to cause astronauts to work up a sweat. Wearing an EVA, which stands for extravehicular activities, can mean hours of hard work. And don't forget that astronauts often wear layers to stay warm and pressurized. And these layers include an inner form-fitting item of clothing that resembles long underwear. This item is often reworn and even shared. And since there are no washing machines on the ISS, you get the point, right? An interesting fact: there is a specially trained person who smells every single thing that astronauts take with them into space. It's done to protect them from unpleasant or toxic odors. The thing is that you can't really air the room out there in space if you don't like how it smells inside. That's why NASA is very careful about what kind of odors can pass through. At the same time, nothing can prevent the smells that appear already on the ISS. Anyway, spacesuits and what's underneath them are used again and again, and soon you start worrying not only about bad smells, but also about hygiene and health problems. An alarming possibility of bio-contamination arises. It includes bacteria, body fluids, and other foreign substances. It gets worse if we think about longer missions, for instance, to the moon. At the same time, it's totally impractical to wash spacesuit interiors on a consistent basis. Water is too valuable on the ISS to waste it on something so mundane. That's why NASA, along with the European Space Agency and other organizations, asked specialists to develop fabrics that could solve the problem of bio-contamination in suits. You see, during the shuttle program conducted by NASA, spacesuits were supposed to be used on quite short 2-week trips. But then, astronauts started living on the ISS for much longer periods of time. That's why the spacesuit's lifespan had to be extended up to 6 years. No wonder microbes became a much more worrying issue than before. So more than a decade ago, a team of experts began to research different methods of getting rid of microbes and bacteria dwelling in spacesuits. They cut textiles in 2-inch squares and put them in petri dishes, and grew a few species of fungi and bacteria on these samples. Some of the fabrics they used were infused with copper. This substance has impressive antimicrobial properties. When bacteria touch this element, their cell walls and membranes get destabilized. The metal's ions damage microbes, making them more vulnerable. NASA scientists also tried using textiles treated with silicone and silver. The latter turned out to be as toxic to germs on contact as copper. After observing the stuff that had grown on the fabrics for the past 14 days, the researchers discovered that only one compound had managed to keep bacteria and fungi at bay. It was a solution of silver molecules normally used for disinfecting hospital dressings and other stuff. But the ions of this metal turned out to be too good at their job because they got rid of everything, literally. And total sterility could do more harm than good. We need a balanced ecosystem consisting of millions of microorganisms to keep our organs and skin healthy. In 2022, NASA hired US companies Axiom Space and Collins Aerospace to develop the next generation of spacesuits. And soon, a prototype suit appeared. It was designed to be used during the Artemis 3 mission. The main goal of this voyage is to land a crew at the south pole of our natural satellite. These spacesuits are supposed to use textiles with antimicrobial properties that can potentially reduce bio-contamination. The cooling system of these suits will also add biocides in its water loops, which will help prevent microbial buildup. Now let's talk about spacesuits in more detail. To begin with, there are actually two main types of spacesuits. You've probably seen the Advanced Crew Escape Suit, aka the orange suit, aka the pumpkin suit. Astronauts wear this full-pressure suit during takeoff, or rather liftoff, since we're talking about a spaceship. These suits are irreplaceable for those who are heading for super high altitudes. There, the pressure is so low that people can't survive without a special protective suit. And while air crews wear partial pressure suits, space crews have to be protected by full pressure suits. After all, they travel way, way higher. The suit is also equipped with lots of things that can help an astronaut survive emergencies during a spaceship launch or landing. A regular pumpkin suit is stocked with flares, medications, survival gear, a radio, and a parachute. So, in short, astronauts couldn't live through the process of leaving Earth without the orange suit. But why did its designers choose this hue? The main reason for picking the orange color is that this hue is one of the most visible for search and rescue, including very probable sea rescue. As for EVAs, their purpose is different. Astronauts wear these suits when they set off on spacewalks. It can protect them from the severe conditions of outer space, with its extreme temperatures and near vacuum. Plus, the spacesuit can prevent small debris from hurting space travelers. You've probably noticed that EVA suits are much bulkier than the orange ones. That's because they have many layers of insulation and heavy protective fabric. They also contain breathable air, drinkable water, and temperature controls. Now, every time an astronaut goes on a spacewalk, they use a tether that ties them to the space station. And in case the tether breaks, the EVA suit has a backup system. This system includes small jet thrusters which can be controlled from the station with the help of a joystick. As for the color, first of all, white reflects the heat of the sun better than other colors, and astronauts don't get too hot. Plus, the white color is the best when it comes to spotting the tiny dot of an astronaut against the vast expanse of black space. Another curious detail. While white spacesuits protect astronauts from getting too hot, they can't prevent them from getting too cold. And that's when special gloves come into play. They have special heaters which keep astronauts' fingers cozy and functioning. We interrupt this program to bring you this important message. The Earth is no longer fit for living, so you'll need to find your own new home. You immediately get the brilliant idea to apply for a job as an astronaut. You'll be able to wait over the hustle and bustle on the International Space Station until humanity finds a new home, right? The longest time a human has spent in space so far is 437 days and a few extra hours. And when I say in space, I mean the ISS, because a human being without the proper equipment in open space would only last a few seconds. The ISS is designed to support human life in space for extended periods of time. Extended, but not endless. The station gets resupplied with food, water, air, fuel, scientific equipment, and other necessities every 3 months. With no Earth or humans to send the mission, this lifeline will soon be broken. The station is a huge ship moving through space at over 17,000 miles per hour. It faces pretty harsh conditions, from radiation to micrometeoroids and huge temperature ups and downs. That's why the system regularly needs patching up. In addition to wear and tear, there are also unexpected events that can require resupply missions. In 2020, the crew discovered a leak that was causing a gradual loss of air pressure. They eventually found cracks in one of the modules. The crew managed to fix it, but it proves how important it is to have enough spare parts on board. Let's say the future humans will manage to find a way to run the station non-stop without restocking. Astronauts already grow plants in space in closed boxes with low-energy LED lights. It's not only a source of vitamins, without which humans can't survive, but a great mood booster. We'd also need more advanced closed-loop life support systems to recycle air and water efficiently. It's a system that captures carbon dioxide from the air by passing it through small beads. Then it uses steam to separate the carbon dioxide and transform it into methane and water. Water then divides back into oxygen. But even with all the possible advances, there's another problem. the health of the astronauts. They live and work in a microgravity environment, and they rely on carefully controlled life support systems. But our bodies aren't designed to live in weightlessness forever. It's like standing on your head, because the reduced gravity makes bodily fluids accumulate in the upper parts of your body. The result is a puffy red face. The gravitational force on the ISS is weaker than on Earth, so muscles don't have to work as hard and bones gradually lose their density. That's why each crew member follows a strict daily exercise routine. The heart muscle also weakens because it doesn't have to use as much effort to circulate blood throughout the body. Without Earth's protective atmosphere, astronauts are continuously exposed to cosmic rays. They are invisible waves that can cause some serious health issues. So maybe we're better off opting for Mars or the Moon for an alternative home.